Guys, you can hear the cars now. I know that there's some really nice pines for this road, but I'll have to see whether I'll make it there. I really have not been out walking for very long, and my face is really cold and my ankles are feeling a little bit numb, so we'll see. But I think I at least see a couple coming up, actually. That's not too bad. I do have to walk all the way back home though. But I'll try and show you these. Recently I've been thinking a lot about how nothing in nature, no biological system, no biological organism is really alone. Not just in that everything is interacting with other organisms in their ecosystem. Here's one. See the tiniest bit of snow right here. They don't really catch the snow as well, but this one is pretty. I didn't realize it was right here. I'm gonna get a little further away from it so I can get a better shot. It's not just that everything is interacting with other things in the ecosystem. It's that every organism's lives, their entire beings, are intertwined with everything else in the ecosystem. And they couldn't exist without each other. And that doesn't just extend to, the big things that we can see, animals, plants, the fruiting bodies of fungi, but microorganisms as well. And these relationships between microorganisms and non-macroorganisms, I guess, are ubiquitous, and they are what defines everything. They are what defines every organism. Every organism is defined by a lot of things, but one of them being their interactions with microorganisms. And that is to say, basically, that they would not be themselves without the microorganisms they interact with. And when I say interact with, I don't just mean, like when I say microorganisms, bacteria and fungi, people will think, oh, like diseases, or like, gross things like mold, and things that are unwanted and things that cause problems, right? But that is just the smallest sliver of what microbes actually constitute in actual nature and in ecosystems. Like every single organism relies on the microorganisms that are growing inside of them and also growing tightly next to them in their ecosystem. You yourself are not you without the microorganisms that live inside your body. There are bacteria in your gut, in your eyes, your mouth. Pretty much every single part of your body has some kind of bacteria or some kind of microorganism growing inside it. And a lot of times, those microorganisms will have their own microorganisms growing inside of them. And it's just a never-ending complexity, really. Like, it's complexity at every single scale, every imaginable scale. The further down you go, it never gets less complex. If anything, it gets more complex because you see more and you understand more. I'm gonna start walking back now because I'm really cold, and I found these pretty nice pines that have some snow on them, so I'm pretty happy. Just trying to get as many angles as I can. So, I don't think I'm like fully articulating this scale with of which I'm talking about. So, you are an animal, and like every other animal, and like also every other plant, and every other fungi, every other organism on this planet, you are tightly bound. Your life is tightly bound and knit with an uncountable amount of microorganisms. Even if you were stuck inside, you were thrown inside of a test tube and didn't interact with anything else in your environment, you have a whole host of microorganisms that are essential to you. They are a large part in why you can digest food at all. If you had no microorganisms in your gut, you would not properly be able to digest food, at least the kind of food that we would eat. Typically, you'd basically need to be, like baby birded, like pre-digested food as far as I'm aware. And when reproduction occurs, there is an amount of microorganisms that transfer in between the parent giving birth to the child, so that way that child can function properly, because you cannot function properly without these microorganisms. They are involved in your immune system, and they are involved in how you express your genes. They're tightly wound up in your DNA. And basically what I'm trying to say is that these microorganisms are one-on-one with yourself. While you are an animal, and they are mostly bacteria, I believe, and you could technically separate them if you wanted to do that. Like just talking about like how you think about them. You could think of them as separate. But if you take away yourself and leave the microbes would die. If you took away the microbes and left, quote unquote, yourself, you would die. And so by more or less all metrics, you are one and the same. Your lives have become so tightly wound through evolution that you have the same life cycle, like you are the same. And I think that's really fascinating to me. I don't know what I was. There are more there are more microbe cells in your body than there are human cells. And so I don't know. I don't really have any other like place to go with that point. I just think it's cool. I don't know. I feel like it, like at some point you kind of just have to realize that it has to be this way. Like there's no reason for it to not to be this way, for it to be any other way, because life is always about interactions between organisms, and organisms always find a way to communicate with each other, to live with each other in their own way. And I don't know. Like if you think about it from the grand scheme of things, like life evolved from bacteria. Bacteria has been present every single step of the way, and it's abundantly present right now, as it always has been. It's always been abundantly present. So of course all of life is going to interact in that way, and there is going to be, I don't know if I'm really making sense. I want to make a video on this, but I really kind of gotta refine. There's an old woman just like walking down a driveway, and I probably sounded like a fucking crazy person. Because I was actually talking pretty loud. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for hanging out.